everyone. You're welcome to this episode of Open Mic with the Successful Immigrant TSI. As always, you know how we roll. But just for your information, just for as a heads up, today we're going to be talking, it's like the student version. We're just going to be talking about student visa rejection. So I want to welcome everyone. I'll say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to today's episode of the program. And as always, with me today on the show, I have Chloe of Jody Immigration Services. How are you today, Jody?
I'm great. Thank you for asking.
You're welcome. I know that a number of our participants and people that listen and watch, they're thinking, okay, where is Manisha? Where is Manisha again? Well, sorry, Manisha is not going to be joining us again today. I know. But then, yeah, it's what it is. We'll move on. So we've had your questions. We've got a number of questions here, and I just want to encourage you, if you're just joining us, you're able to like text in the comment section, put in whatever questions you have, and we'll try our best possible to be able to get to those questions. And as always, just for people that are joining us for the first time, just for some background info, right? The reason we do this is because we know that there are a lot of questions people have out there about immigration, the types, the different streams, the different options. And at some point, we realized that we're getting some specific questions, so we decided to begin to like streamline them. The last time we spoke about the medical and people in the medical industry, yes, and how that has to do with immigration and relocation to Canada. Today, our focus is going to be on students, study permits, rejections, denials. Why are we getting so many denials, and what can we do about it? Chloe.
Yeah.
This is one very hot topic, right?
It is, yes.
It almost seems like 50% of the applications are getting rejected.
They are.
Oh
yes.
my God. So it's almost to the point of being heartbreaking because you have this vision, you want to go to school, you want to ultimately relocate to Canada, yeah, and it seems like you're not even sure which way to turn, and you're not sure how your application is going to turn out, right?
Yeah.
So again, that's why we decided to bring Chloe here today. Chloe from Jody Immigration Services. I like to say this a lot. She's an RCIC. What does that mean again, Jody?
Regulated Canadian Immigration Consultant.
There you go. Just so you know the caliber of people we're bringing to the show, and I'm saying this or explaining this again because of people that just joined us for the very first time. So I think we should just head straight to the questions section and begin to answer those questions. So the very first question we got was, how do you know which province to choose a school in? Canada is huge. We've got 10 provinces and how many?
3 territories.
So how do I know where to go? Which province should I actually apply to?
So whoever sent this question, I get this a lot. Mm-hmm. I would say pick whatever province you want. So okay, yes, so there's no province that is better per se. It just depends on the preferences of our clients or applicants. So you can pick whatever province that meets your list. Say you can have a checklist of things that you want. Some people say, oh, I don't want the cold, Alberta's out,
Okay.
Yeah.
Really? You want to come to Canada, you don't want the cold?
Exactly. That's what I was going to say, right? Canada is cold. Wherever you go, it's cold. But then, of course, there are provinces that are really, really cold. Mm-hmm. So if cold is not for you, then, or extreme cold is not for you, then you have certain provinces that are, out of the question. Then you also have your funds. How much can you afford? Certain provinces like BC, British Columbia is really expensive. Vancouver's really expensive to live, right? Yeah. Ontario, depending on where you are, is expensive. Toronto is expensive, right? It's expensive, right? So you have to consider the environment, the amount of money you have. You also have to consider the school. So this is the most important. You might say, oh, I have this province in mind, but then how sure are you that you're going to get the admission? Because some provinces, like Alberta, for instance, the admission process is a bit more rigorous, yes. So Ontario schools are easier to get.
Okay.
Yes, but Alberta schools have more requirements. A lot of them require IELTS or some English exam. Ontario, most of those can be waived, right? So it would depend. You have to put all of this into consideration before you choose your province. So what I would say is pick the province that ticks majority of the things that are most important to you, and then you can go from there.
Well, what about if because I know people ask this a lot, what about if I have a family member in a province? Should I make a difference, or should I?
Yes and no. Yes, because it's good to have somebody, it helps the transition process, right? But then if you have, let's say for example, you have somebody in Calgary, that is Alberta, right? And then you get a school in Ontario that is affordable, ticks all your pros or your requirements, and then you say, you know what, because I have this person in Calgary, in Alberta, then I'm going to pick. It doesn't make a lot of sense, right? So
absolutely.
Yes and no. If it meets all your requirements and you have family there, then that's great. That's just a plus. But if no, then don't bother. Yes.
Alrighty. Second question. If I choose a trade course, like fashion, baking,
carpentry,
yeah. Will I get a post-study work visa?
Yes. So a lot of the vocational courses, you are eligible for the postgraduate work permit. There's really no restriction per se, except if you are the vocational courses you're picking are not or are less than 8 months. So for you to be eligible for postgraduate work permits, you must have gone through a course or a program that is 8 months at minimum, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and then it has to be from a designated learning institution. So DLIs, if it's not from a DLI, then you don't meet the requirement for a postgraduate work permit. I'm probably sure that because I get this question a lot.
Actually, that's the next question. That's actually the next question. So it's like, does studying in any school qualify me for a postgraduate?
No. So no, you have to ensure that you the course and the school is is eligible for postgraduate work permits. So you have to look through the list. You can go on the Government of Canada website. You can just search for designated learning institutions.
Yeah.
You get the number and everything. You can also go a step further. You contact the school, say, hey, I'm interested, just a quick email. I'm interested in this course. Does it qualify for a postgraduate work permit? And they'll let you know. So you have to, do your due diligence to make sure that you have all of that. But no, not all schools qualify. You just have to make sure that you.
So just to recap, DLI is very, very important, designated learning institution, right?
Yes.
So you want to make sure that the school you're applying to or the school you want to go to is a designated learning institution. And that information is available for free on the Canadian website, the Canadian government website, right? You can find it there. The list of schools are there, the number, because every school that is designated has a number.
Yes.
So the numbers are there also. You can, do your deal. And just like Chloe said, send an email. They will respond. That's the beautiful thing with the Canadian environment, right? You send a question, ask them questions, they're going to respond to you. Because they have people that are this is what they do on a daily basis. That's their work. To ensure that international students are asking questions and they're responding as at when due. This one, very interesting. Is it better to apply for family visa as a student or get in first and the family comes after? So background to this, because people ask this a lot also. So the man or the woman wants to come to school. Maybe it's the wife or the husband, it really doesn't matter. And the question is, okay, so once we've gone through the process of figuring out which school, figuring out which province, applying, we've gotten the admission.
Yeah.
Now it's time to apply for that study permit. Should I apply with my family at the same time? Does that increase my chances or reduce it in any way? Or should the husband or the applicant, the student, apply first? And once you have that visa at hand, then your family applies, right?
Yeah.
So, what do you say to that?
Yes. So, if you had asked me this before, I would say yes, 100% you wait, the person applies first, and then once they get the study permit, then the rest of the family can apply, right? Right now, yes, I would say still do the same. Let the main applicant apply first, get the visa, and then you can apply later. But then, if you noticed, we've had a lot of rejections lately. So what you're trying to do here is, I think this is just, my personal opinion. It's not, I didn't get this from IRCC or anything, but this is just my personal opinion. I think that IRCC has figured that, that's what people do on, like a consistent basis. So people only show their proof of funds for themselves, right? So they're applying and they're like, wait, you know what? Since I'm the only person applying, I'm just going to show my proof of funds for myself. And then when you get a rejection, they're like, hey, IRCC goes, you know what? We think you don't have enough money. Based on, your proof of funds and all of that. And they're like, but I submitted enough funds for this application for myself. So based on what I've noticed, I think what is happening is you have to submit enough funds for the rest of the family that is going to accompany you. So you show IRCC that I have enough funds to cover for myself, for my family, even though right now they're technically not accompanying, but we know you're going to apply for them later, right? So exactly. So it's better to just to get that rejection rate down, or to put yourself in a better situation. I would say show your proof of funds for your entire family. Yes, they might not be there on the application at that point, but just have enough funds for all of them, and then after you get approved, you can submit.
And it makes a lot of sense, because we keep saying on this open mic forum that we know that the Canadian government, they don't like separating families. So they know that once one person is in, almost automatically other members of the family are going to come.
Exactly.
So what we're saying here is, if you're a family person, you have a wife, you have a husband, you have children, if you're applying for your visa, your study permit, you want to have enough money to take care of the entire family as proof of funds, right off the get-go. Because I know that some people recycle the same money, right? So that takes that out of it. So you want to just have enough money to be able to show the government that you're able to take care of the entire family if you guys choose to come at the same time, or you want to come one by one, right?
Exactly.
Wow. Yeah, that really makes a lot of sense. Okay, rejection. How soon can I reapply after my student visa or my study permit is rejected?
Okay, so there's no time frame that says you have to apply after a certain period. No, you can apply if you want the very next day. Okay. Yes, there's no time frame, but the thing is, how when you're reapplying, what are you sending back to immigration, right? Are you going to send back the same exact documents, the same exact statement of purpose, or just you know what, I'm just going to
repackage and just
exactly, just second application. If you're going to reapply, I always say don't be in a rush. Take your time, look through your application, look for the mistakes you made, look for ways you can strengthen your application. And this is a tip that I know I shouldn't be saying it, because if Manisha was here, she'd be like, why are you telling me? But I would say apply for the GCMS notes. So you can apply for those through either CBSA or IRCC from their website. And the thing is, if you're applying for those notes, it's basically a look into the mind of the IRCC officer or the visa officer that reviewed your application. So it contains your personal details and ultimately what the IRCC officer was, or his rationale for his rejection, or So I would say apply for that. Once you get it, then you can have a better understanding of what to exactly, and then you can tackle that from the notes. So that's what I would say. Just work on your application.
Talking about the GCMS note, I know that once the visa or study permit is rejected, they're going to put a reason in there. But it's almost like a superficial reason. It doesn't tell you in depth what exactly went wrong. And that's what Chloe is talking about. That GCMS note is like your form, your application, how it goes from table to table. What comment is written at every point, at every officer that's looked at it, what are their thoughts and why do they think that, okay, this is a no-no. So that really helps. It gives you an insight into, where things are going. And then I want to just, there was something you did say. You said, don't be in a rush when you're reapplying. But tell me, school starts in January, application denied in November. How will I not be in a rush?
And it still comes back to pre-planning. If you have, say, your goal is to come to school in fall, September, start applying a year before.
A year before?
Yes. That's the thing. Start applying a year before. So you're looking at applying. If you get rejected, you have months to reapply and then make it in time. But when I often have people that say, hey, I want to start the spring intake in May, and you're coming to me in December.
Yeah, that's just
4
or 5 months.
Exactly. Right? How do you want to do that? How do you want to make it work? But then another thing is you can defer your admission. Of course, not all schools have. You have a certain number of deferrals you can do, and then they're like no more, right?
Yeah.
And then it depends on the program also. If you want to defer, some schools will tell you, no, we don't have any more spots or
for
that program. So you
for
have
that time that you're looking at, right?
So you
like for instance, just to be clear, sorry.
Yeah.
If you were intending to start in May and now you're deferring to September, it's possible that September is already full.
Exactly.
So they might be like, okay, there's no January intake, wait till next May or next September.
Or September, exactly. Yes. So you have the option of also deferring your admission until you have enough time to reapply, get a response, and go with the college intake. Another thing is when you defer, it's on you to drop your courses. So if you already paid your tuition fees, you sign up for if you don't drop those, you get charged for it. Yeah. So you have to take that into consideration when you're deferring your program. Make sure you do your due diligence to drop your courses, do whatever the school needs you to do, and then you can go from there. Yes.
Okay. So that leads us to one other question that actually is not the next one, but I'm just gonna go into that. And the question still about the what do you do? How do I defer my admission? And how do I get a refund of my deposit if my study permit is denied?
Okay. Again, it depends on the college or the university. So a lot of colleges will tell you, most of them just really need you to send an email to the registrar or whoever is in charge of that. So you send them an email or a message and let them know that, hey, I need to defer my program. They've had like probably 1 million plus deferrals. Is not something new. They know that visa is not guaranteed. So they know the process of deferrals very much. So you send them a message and they'll defer the program for you. If there's no spots for that intake, they can find a way to defer to the next intake, right? Yeah, so you just send them a message, defer the program. For the refunds, it depends on the university. So some universities will tell you if you don't defer or let us know that you're not reapplying for visa in a certain number of days, then you lose your
spot. And then your deposit.
Your deposit, right? Yes. Yeah. So it depends on the school. So one thing is, if you get a rejection, there are two things to keep in mind. One, are you going to reapply? If yes, then you have to defer. If you're not going to reapply for the visa, then you should as quickly as possible let the school know that I'm not going to be reapplying for the study permit or the visa. So I'm just going to go ahead and get a refund. So some schools might hold back some amount of money, but usually it's
administrative charges, they call it sometimes.
Exactly. So it's often not a lot of money.
Okay.
So,
So I guess the key there is letting the school know as soon as you know, essentially.
Yeah.
So and I also know that some of them there's a time limit to it.
Yes.
And that's where proper planning in advance comes in, just like you said, right?
Yeah.
For instance, if you know that school classes start in May and then the cutoff is maybe March, you're just getting your rejection letter in April. You're already in trouble, literally. So then the scrambling starts, right?
Yeah.
So I know a lot of people, ask questions about around the refusal, and then the reapplying, and then the deferment, and then how do you, and I also say that a lot of us, we think that the way we go to school from where we're originally from is the same way it is here. You could actually call them up, like there's the admission office, and that is their job. They deal with admissions. They are willing, they are ready to accommodate you, ask your questions, as long as you're asking the right questions, right? So send that email, call them up, drop a chat, whatever model or form of communication they have, and you will be surprised, pleasantly surprised, that they're going to respond to you and tell you, like, breakdown what you need to do to time, and or where things are stated as far as your admission is concerned. School fees. Do I have to pay full fees, that is full school fees, before applying for the visa? And I guess the background to this question also is the fact that, sometimes when you submit your application, you pay the application fee. The school gives you an admission and they say you need to pay a deposit. You pay your deposit and they give you a timeline for your first semester. Again, we're going to come to that. Let's just say the first payment. They give you a timeline for that. So if you're going to apply before that timeline lapse, like for instance, let's say they say, oh, classes start in September. Ensure your fees, the first payment is paid in July, and you're applying in April. Should I pay my fees before applying just to show, the immigration officer that I'm really serious, I've got the forms? What would you say?
So generally, yes. I usually say yes. You don't have to pay the entire thing, depending on what you want. You can pay maybe one term or one semester or two, 2 is a full year already, right? So you can pay one semester or, one term and leave it at that. Again, this is just another tip. If you have the IELTS exam, so you have an English exam, and you have, say, about 30,000 Canadian dollars, and my bank statement is really very easy to get, you can qualify for the Nigerian Student Express stream. So it's basically a faster pathway to getting your study permit process.
So there is, guys, are you listening? There is a Nigerian Express stream.
Yes, because Nigeria is like one of the countries, we have become one of the countries where we have a lot of students applying. Yes. So for China and Senegal and other countries, they have the student direct stream, but we have the Nigerian Student Express. So it's specifically for just Nigerian students, and you can get your visa processed faster. There's no particular way to do it. It's just if you meet these requirements, then you can get called up to say, hey, you meet the requirements and you can go for the...
Oh, so are you saying that you submit applications like per normal, and then they will call you up?
Not call you up, but yes, but you qualify for yes.
So if you have, is there any way we can find like a checklist, something to keep in mind?
Literally, this is the checklist. My bank statement. So First Bank, GTB, UB, I think. A couple of banks in Nigeria, you can get the My Bank statement. So it's proof of funds, right? It's just your bank statement, but it's an app that makes it easier for you to, yes. So My Bank statement, 30,000 Canadian dollars. So if you have the 30,000 Canadian dollars, you don't have to meet the requirements of paying your tuition. Yes. So that's why
that covers.
That's the exception. So if you have that 30,000, then there's no real need to pay the fees yet. And then if you have your IELTS results and you have to have a minimum score of 6 in all the skills.
The skills. But okay, so what happens in the event? Like there's some of the schools that really they're not asking for the IELTS. So are you saying just do it in the event, or where are we going with that? Because if you're saying IELTS is one of the the list they're going to be looking at, and my school doesn't require IELTS because we know Africans, Nigerians especially, we studied English. Like I started school when I was like 3 months old. I'm learning English, right? So when we're saying that, does that mean that I automatically disqualify myself for that Nigerian Express stream by not having that IELTS?
Yes.
Oh my world.
And I get this question a lot. A lot of people tell me, oh, should I write the IELTS? For me, if you can do it. I know a lot of people, it's not the money, it's the fear of the exam.
Whether you're going to pass or not.
Exactly. So I always tell people, please, if you can, write it. It opens a lot more doors for you because, especially for the, applying for admission to different provinces. Like I said, Alberta has a lot of schools that require you to have some form of IELTS exam, right? So if you have the IELTS, it opens doors to more options rather than just a small pool of schools you can apply to. So that's, for me, I would say yes, you can, you should, if you have the time, the money, the resources, and take it with the fear of writing it, then you should write it.
I mean, this is loaded information, people. Who would have thought there was something like a Nigerian Express stream for students, right? That's mind-blowing. Because sometimes you realize that even for the student, it's not the money. I know there is some that it's the proof of funds, how do we show that I'm able to pay my fees? Right. But for the other guys, it's not even about the money. It's just, how do I convince that officer, that immigration officer, that I really want to go to school?
Right.
And they know, everybody knows that you're coming here to school because you want to stay back, right? But they still want you to be able to prove that if things don't go well, you can go back home, and you want to go back home. And if you intend to stay, you're able and willing to pay your school fees. And you're not going to just one week of class and then you have come from class and, go do whatever you want to do. Okay. So still talking about the issue of school fees and no school fees. So there are some schools that they expect the requirement is that you pay the entire year at once. There are some that they take it semester by semester. So I guess the question this person, I'm just trying to paraphrase it, is does it make more sense to go to, I mean, I find it very interesting that you're already thinking you're going to fail after first semester anyway. So, like, if I fail after the first semester, then I can, withdraw. Instead of paying the entire fee, do I get my money back in the event of not passing after the first semester?
No. You paid your fees, right? So, usually, it, again, depends on the school. Oftentimes, if you've already, signed up for the courses, you don't drop them, there's no refund. Yeah, so honestly, it just depends on the situation, the school and all of that, but more times than not, if you've already enrolled and done all of that, the chances of getting a refund like that is slim to none. So that's what you have to consider. But failure is not, for me, failure is not the end of the world, right?
It's not.
You can go again.
And I think one other thing we also need to understand, because I imagine that this person will not want to sit face to face and discuss the possibility of failing my courses, but you can read between the lines that the fear is already there. Will I be able to cope? Will I be able to succeed? All of that. So the other thing to put in mind is, here when you fail the first time, they're not going to kick you out of school.
No.
They're going to give you an opportunity to redeem yourself.
Like, they actually help you. That's the thing. You have resources, people supporting you, extra classes. It's a
tutorials.
Exactly.
Whatever it takes to help you succeed. Exactly. And that's the beautiful thing. You have a whole community that is willing and of course, I know this from people I've worked with. Once they realize that your courses you're not doing well, they've got these advisors that would get in touch with you and then talk to you, counsel. They've got counselors actually.
Exactly.
And then you can begin to decide, where do I go from here? Do I want to change my course? Do I want to defer? Do I want to take a break and then recalibrate? They'll give you options, and they will not just give you, they will walk you through those options. And so don't think that, if I fail one course, boom, they're going to kick me out. No, it's not going to happen that way. We hope and pray
you don't fail.
that you don't fail, but in the event that happens, just understand that the whole system is set up to be able to help you, walk you through that process and ensure that, will succeed in school and generally in life. Right? So but I just found that a bit very interesting. If my visa is denied, it's the same question around admission, deferring admission and getting a refund of deposit. Let me see, what do I have here that's a bit different from, this is not a direct school question, not a direct refusal. It's still around the trades.
Okay.
So I guess the question is, do I? I'm not sure we should even ask this question. Do I earn a lot if I go into like a trade course? If I go to school as a carpenter or a baker?
Oh.
Yeah, I guess he's already thinking. I mean, why would
Is
you?
it worth it?
Yeah,
It is. It is worth it.
absolutely.
Yeah. And that's the thing. A lot of people don't understand. Trades
Mhm.
here, vocational courses, depending on what you go into, but construction
Oh yeah.
and all of that, they pay a lot.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yes, they pay a
Absolutely.
lot. So-
Carpenters, welders.
Welders,
Oh my
plumbers.
God, welders. Oh, I didn't want to go there.
Exactly.
They earn a lot.
So these are vocational courses that
Mhm.
or occupations that earn a lot of money in Canada. And if you're a more handsy person,
Mhm.
then yes, I would say definitely go
100%
for that.
go for it,
Yes. Yeah.
I know that in the African context, it's either your mom says, oh, you want to be a doctor, a lawyer, or an engineer.
Mhm.
It's one of those power three. If
Yeah.
you're not that, I don't know what you're going to school to do.
Yeah.
But it doesn't work that way in the Western world. There's dignity in labor. That's what I like to
Exactly.
say all the time. So and I know we're focusing on students, study permit denial and refusal, but it's also important that we know that. Don't say because I'd rather be a lawyer, I'd rather be a doctor, and then go do a course, particularly if you've done your first degree and you're coming from master's, and you know that maybe engineering was tough for you, you literally almost didn't pass, like you barely made it through. And you're thinking, oh, maybe I want to be a baker, maybe I want to be whatever it is you want to do. I always say to people, in Canada, there's dignity in labor. So don't say, oh, I can't come here and study, one of those courses. 100% you can. You just need to look at what exactly do you want to do? What does your life look like in the next 5 years, the next 10 years? Where do you want to go with your life? And based on that, and then to circle back to how we started, based on your capacity to accommodate cold, yeah, that would inform the province you want to go to, and then the kind of school you want to attend. You want to just take time, settle, and have a plan. That's one thing, Chloe, I've realized people don't have plans. They just wake up, I want to go to Canada, and then this, oh, I want to go to Canada, what can I do? You've got a plan.
It's a Japa bug, right? It just bites them and
Yeah,
I
I want to up and go. Yeah, we're really already like 5 minutes beyond, and we're still, okay,
There's
so,
no question?
yeah, so guys, I'm going to say that keep the questions coming. Whatever questions you have, ask in the comment section, send us our WhatsApp page, WhatsApp number is there, Instagram, ask the questions, and then we'll try to get answers to you. And if you think that there's a particular topic you want us to discuss in this open mic, feel free to reach out, and then of course we'll take it up, we'll discuss it. That's why we're here, to give you guys valid information and value for your time, so that you don't end up saying I didn't know. That's why we're here. We want you to know. So Chloe, do you have any other thing you would like us to talk about before we call this a wrap? We're already like 6 minutes.
Not really, but I would just say, if you really want to come to Canada, don't let people's, comments about the code or the situation here deter you from coming. I think just give it a try. Somebody else's experience might be difficult or different, and then you come here and you find out that you love it, or it's just totally better for you. Like, I'll give you an example. When I before I came to Canada, everybody was like, oh, the cold, this and that. I love the cold.
Really? You're weird.
I know. I crave the cold. When I see the first snow, it's like,
yeah, bring it on.
I love it. So for me, it was, everybody was telling me it's going to be so cold, it's going to be this, it's going to be that. But then I loved the experience. The cold was amazing for me. And we broke, did you know, Alberta broke records, cold records, like from 1984, I think. Like,
really?
Over 100 years records. Like, the cold was so bad this year.
Oh, really?
Yes, we broke like over 30 records.
Wow.
Yeah. So this year is really cool. But back to what I'm saying is, just give it a try. If you don't like it, nobody's chaining you here.
Yeah.
Just give it a try. Your experience might be different from every other person's experience, so That's what I would say. Give it a try.
And just to, reiterate what employer said, like everything in life, your story will be different from every other person's story. Your experience are going to be different. Don't set your life based on somebody else's sub story or fears or frustrations or whatever that might be. Have a plan. Channel your plans. Work towards it, and we know that everything's going to work out fine and at the end. Ask valid questions. Ask questions from experts, people that really know what they're doing. Don't go to those agents that ask them, are you RCIC? And they cannot boldly say yes, then, because would you believe, even the last 1 week, somebody told me, oh, I paid this person money and then said we're going to get me a school, and up till now, nothing. And I'm like, who's this person? Says, yeah, they have an office somewhere. Where is this office? Says, yeah, he said they moved offices again. I'm like, oh my word.
Okay. I'll make this easy for people. If you contact somebody and you ask them, are you an RCIC, and they say yes, one thing you can do is go on Find My Consultant. So you can just Google search Find My Immigration Consultant in Canada. You go to CICC's website. It has option for first name, last name, company name, agent name, down to agent name.
Down to agent?
Yes.
Wow.
So
okay.
all of that, agent last name, you can put all of that information and you can pull up the person's information. So if you don't find that person, if it says no data, that person is not a regulated Canadian immigration consultant. They're lying to you. So if you don't find them on that list,
then they're not.
They're not. Okay. They're ghost consultants.
Okay, you don't want me going to ghost consultants. Trust me. I think this is where we pull the curtain on today's episode of Open Mind. Thank you everyone for being a part of it, and as always, always, thank you, Chloe, for coming and sharing all this wealth of information and knowledge with our viewers. So until the next one, we'll say keep planning, keep pushing, and keep believing in yourself. Bye.
Bye, guys.